Okay, thank you for joining me today here on the campus of the University of North Carolina on Chapel Hill for your yoga practice. First, coming to a comfortable seat, we'll start off with a little bit of meditation to separate our yoga practice from the rest of our lives. When I come to my yoga mat, I turn the focus to the inside, scanning my entire body, spine, the shoulders, the hips. Your eyes can be closed or a nice soft gaze. Getting the breath into the deepest part of your lungs. Relaxing your shoulders down and away from your ears. I use my yoga practice as a way to have a conversation with myself to find out what's going on. The yoga poses are tools. And these tools help me to build strength and flexibility. As always, go at your own pace. Drop into child's pose if I start to go too fast for you. Be aware of where you are and be okay with where you are. There's nothing to win, there's nothing to lose. Just do what you can. Breathe and relax. Deep breath in, filling up your lungs, your rib cage expands. As you exhale, letting it all go. Try to make the inhales the same length as the exhales. The key to a good, strong yoga practice is a calm, steady breath throughout the entire practice. Anytime your breath begins to get struggled or challenged, just back off a little bit. Continuing to focus on the inside for just a little more meditation before we get started. Any thoughts that come into your head from outside of this time and space, just acknowledge them and let them go. Focusing on the present moment. Focusing on your breath allows you to stay in the present moment. Noticing the temperature, noticing the smells, the sounds, right here in this moment. What is? Releasing worry and anxiety about the future. Letting go of any problems that you had before you came onto the mat. And then inhale, lifting your arms up over your head, lengthening through the spine. Interlacing your fingers, palms to the sky, and stretch up through your side bodies. Then your right hand comes down, lifting your left up and over. Getting a deep stretch. And then coming back to center and the other side. Opening up your side. Inhale, lifting up, and then twisting. The left hand around the right knee, right hand behind you. On the exhale, inhale back to center as we twist the other way. Every exhale maybe opens up some extra space there to twist. Inhale back into center. And then we're coming up onto all fours. Tabletop position, making sure that the shoulders are directly over the wrist, the fingers are spread wide for our cat and cow. Knees are hips width distance. Hips directly over your hips. Your toes can be tucked or untucked. And on your exhale, rounding your back. And inhale, lowering your belly. Doing it at your own pace. Exhale for cat pose, inhale for cow pose, just warming up your spine. Preparing it for what we're getting ready to do. And then bring your hands just forward of your shoulders. Tucking your toes, lifting your hips up and back behind you for your first downward facing dog of the day. Maybe bending one knee, letting one heel drop, opening up the back part of your body, bending the other knee, letting the other heel drop. It's called walking your dog. Lengthening your spine by lifting your hips up and back behind you. You're lifting the under part of your armpits, pressing your chest back towards your thighs. Inhale, rolling forward into a plank pose, belly to spine, pressing back through your heels, lengthening through the crown of your head. And then exhale up and back into your downward facing dog again. Your hands and your feet should not move from your plank to your downward facing dog. Move any way that feels good to you here. Again, continuing to walk your dog. And then maybe lifting your heels and then bending your knees and then straightening your legs into your plank pose. Nice strengthening of your core. Exhale up and back into your downward facing dog, lengthening your spine. Deep breath. Inhale, your right foot comes forward, planted between your hands, sinking down into your right hip. Now we're opening up our hips a little bit. And then straightening your right leg into your hamstring stretch, pulling your right hip back and your left hip forward. Lengthening through the crown of your head, getting that deep hamstring stretch. Now bending into your right knee, your left hand comes down to the inside of your right foot. Your right hand comes onto your knee. Maybe if you're comfortable, you can lift your right hand up to the sky, opening your shoulder for the twist. And then your right hand comes down, stepping your right foot back. And then you can come into Chaturanga or come all the way down to your belly. Inhale into upward facing dog or cobra, whatever's comfortable for your spine right now. Exhale up and back over your toes, downward facing dog. You may find a little bit of difference in this downward facing dog than the very first one because your body's already a little more open. Now inhale, your left foot comes forward, opening up your hips, sinking down into your left hip. Straightening your left leg into your hamstring stretch, pulling your left hip back, your right hip comes forward. Lengthening through your spine as you're stretching your hamstring. Bending into your left knee, your right hand to the inside of your knee, your left hand onto your knee, opening your chest up to the side, maybe adding your left arm, opening your shoulder up. Lengthening through the crown of your head on the inhales, and on the exhale, maybe you find some extra space to twist. Now your left hand comes down. Stepping back into your downward facing dog, taking some deep breaths. Warming up a little more. Right foot comes forward, sinking down into your right hip. Straightening your right leg into your hamstring stretch. Maybe go a little deeper this time. Bending into your right knee. Now your left hand comes down, opening your chest out to the side. We're going to add a little bit here. Lifting your right hand. So we're going to transfer the weight equally balanced into both feet as you inhale your way, coming up, shoulders over your hips for a twist. And then your right hand comes to the outside of your left leg, lifting your left hand, opening up the side body, and then release. Your hands come to frame your right foot. Your right foot comes back, pressing back into your downward facing dog. Inhale, rolling forward into a plank pose, Chaturanga, upward facing dog, and downward facing dog if you would like. As always, honor your body. If you want to be in downward facing dog and skip the vinyasas, at any moment you can press back into child's pose. Just be aware you can skip the vinyasas. Meeting me in downward facing dog. Now the left foot comes forward. Plant it between your hands, toes facing forward, knee directly over your ankles, sinking down into your left hip. Straightening your left leg into your hamstring stretch, feeling a nice stretch in the back of your left leg there, bending into your left knee. Your right hand comes down to the inside of your foot, your left hand onto your knee, opening your chest to the side, and then adding your arm. Again, the weight, equal weight into both feet as you inhale, rising up, belly to spine, shoulders directly over your hips, feeling the twist. And this is a huge stretch for the spine. Twist and a stretch and back bend at the same time, sinking down into your hip and release. Bring your hands to frame the left foot, stepping your right foot forward, forward fold. Just hanging here. Take some deep breaths. You can hold opposite elbows if you want to, swaying side to side, pressing your thighs back and apart. You can bend one knee at a time or both knees, anything that feels good. Now inhale, coming onto your fingertips or hands onto your shins, lengthen halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Uttanasana. Inhale, lengthen halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. One more time. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, release. Now your hands come to interlace at the small of your back. We're going to open up our shoulders here. Bring your shoulder blades together. Relaxing your neck, relaxing your jaw, relaxing your head. Just opening up everything in your shoulders and your low back. Releasing your hands. Inhale, slowly rolling up into standing, chin to your chest, one vertebra at a time until your shoulders and your head are the last to arrive at the top, rolling your shoulders up towards your ears, back and down for your Tadasana. This is my foundation for yoga. It's proper alignment of the joints, shoulders over the hips, hips over the ankles. You want to root down into the four corners of both feet, lifting your kneecaps, gauging your quadriceps. Inhale, lifting your arms up over your head. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Exhale, planting your hands, step or hop into Chaturanga, or you can step into plank and exhale into Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Shoulders away from your ears. Exhale, up and back, downward facing dog. We're doing a few sun salutations, building up some heat inside the body. Focusing on the inside, calm, steady breath. Taking 3, 4, maybe 5 breaths here, deep in and out. In your downward facing dog, this should become a resting pose after a while. Once you've built strength in your shoulders. Inhale, lifting your heels. Look forward between your hands, bend your knees, step or hop, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Exhale, forward fold. This time, root to rise, lifting all the way up with a flat back, reverse swan dive, maybe a little back bend once you get to the very top, and then exhale your hands down into prayer position, your heart center, down into your Tadasana. One more time. Inhale, lifting your arms up over your head. Little back bend. Exhale, forward fold. Release. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, planting your hands. Step into plank or hop into Chaturanga with the elbows bent, shoulders elbow height. Inhale into your cobra or upward facing dog. Shoulders away from the ears, getting the back bend in the upper part of your spine. And exhale, up and back. Downward facing dog, working your heels down, working your thighs back and apart, pressing your chest towards your thighs, lengthening your spine by lifting your hips up and back behind you, spreading your fingers wide, pressing into the tips of your fingers and your finger mounds is going to help to protect your wrists. Calm breath. Inhale, lifting your heels, look forward between your hands. Exhale, bend your knees, step, hop, or float. Forward fold. Inhale halfway. Exhale, forward fold. One more time. Root to rise, filling up the lungs at the very top. A little bit of a back bend. And exhale, release your hands into prayer position. Then by your side. Sun Salutations B. Here we go. Inhale, lifting your arms up, sinking down into a chair pose. Weight comes back into your heels. Exhale, release. Forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Exhale, planting your hands, stepping into plank or hopping into Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. Exhale, up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale, your right foot comes forward, plant it between your hands, belly to spine, rolling your back heel down or keep it lifted. Warrior 1, inhale comes up. And on your exhale, your hands frame your right foot, stepping back, Chaturanga, upward facing dog and downward facing dog. You can always skip the Vinyasa, pressing back into downward facing dog. Same thing other side. Left foot comes forward, toes straight forward, knee over the ankle, rolling the back heel down, heel to heel alignment. Inhale up, sinking down, hips forward, releasing your hands. Vinyasa through, Chaturanga, upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Taking some deep breaths in and out here. Calming your mind, getting the oxygen to the body. Feeling the opening, one breath at a time. Inhale, lifting your heels, look forward between your hands, bend your knees, step or hop, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Root to rise, coming into standing, sitting back into your chair pose, and then finishing standing, hands into your prayer position. One more time, Sun B. Inhale, lifting your arms up, sinking into a chair pose. Exhale, release, forward fold. Uttanasana. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Exhale, planting your hands, step or hop. Vinyasa through, or pressing back into downward facing dog. And always be aware, child's pose is available. constantly scanning your body. Your right foot comes forward, rising up into your warrior one. As you exhale, the same exhale, stepping back, continuing to exhale into Chaturanga, elbows the same height as your shoulders. Inhale, upward facing dog, feeling the back bend, and downward facing dog. Other side, left foot comes forward, back heel comes down. Hips are facing forward, pulling your left hip back, your right hip forward, and release. Your hands come to frame, stepping back, continuing to exhale, Chaturanga, upward facing dog, and downward facing dog. Here we go. We should be nice and warm, about ready to do just about anything that we ask our body to do. You can do a couple more if you'd like to. A nice, calm, steady breath. Inhale, lifting your heels. Look forward between your hands. Bend your knees. Step or hop. Forward fold. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Up and back into your chair pose, Utkatasana. And then coming into eagle pose here. So bring your right arm underneath your left. Bring the weight into your left foot. Lifting your right leg so that your right thigh comes high up on your left. And you can point your right toe back. The more you bend into your left knee, then releasing that, releasing your arm, weight comes into the right foot, your left foot gets light, it gets sinking down. We're opening up our hips a little bit, relaxing your jaw. Through your hands and your feet, lengthening through the crown of your head. Pressing your right foot down and your right thigh back will help to open your thigh and your hip. All right, now coming into extended side angle, we're going to bend into that knee. You can bring your right elbow onto your right knee, or your right hand can be down to the inside or outside of the knee, your choice. Lengthening through the left side body, one long line of energy from the outside of the left foot through the tips of the left fingers. Deep breaths in and out. And then looking down about 1.5 feet in front of your right foot, moving into Ardha Chandrasana, Halfmoon Pose. So you may need a block for this one, bringing a block underneath your right hand. You can look down, that's going to help your balance. If you want a little challenge, you can look to the side or up to the lifted thumb if your neck is okay with that. You can reach back for Shavasana, any variation that you want to do. Sugarcane pose. This is a nice opening for the shoulder as well as the quadricep there. Steady breath. All right, going ahead and releasing that, bending your knee, stepping back very carefully into your side angle pose. Now we'll move our way into our bind. So our hips are a little open. We're ready to go now. You can bring your left hand to the small of your back. Your right hand can come underneath. And you can stay at any one of these places. If you want to play with Bird of Paradise, you can step your left foot forward, bring the weight onto your left foot. You're just standing on one foot, just like you were in Ardha Chandrasana. Steady breath will make the pose easier. And coming down the same way you got into it, stepping back. Your hands frame your right foot, stepping back into your plank pose and vinyasa through to clear all that stuff out of your body and reset your body to do the same sequence on the other side. Steady breath in and out. Lengthen your left leg straight back behind you, three-legged dog. Bending your left knee, stacking your left hip on top of your right. You want to have equal weight into both hands. Opening your hip. Inhale, lengthen your left leg straight back behind you, three-legged dog. Your left foot comes forward. Knee to nose. Shoulders over your wrist. Inhale, straight back. Exhale the knee to the left tricep. There are cool arm balances you can do from here, maybe in another video. Straight back. And then your knee comes to your right tricep. Inhale, straight back. And your foot comes forward, planted between your hands, cartwheeling up and open, warrior two the other side. Yoga is great. It gives you an opportunity to notice the difference between your two sides. Take a moment to check what's different on this side. Maybe there's some tension. Maybe you get a little more tired. Flipping your left palm, lifting into your reverse warrior, deep breath in. You can come into a half bind if you want to. And then straightening your left leg, getting a lot of length in the side, keeping the length as you extend over your left leg until you can't extend anymore, and then your left hand comes down. Triangle pose. Tucking your left hip under, stacking your right hip on top of your left, pressing your left foot down and isometrically pulling it back. That's going to open your hip. Steady breath, lengthening through the crown of your head. Now bending into your left knee, extended side angle. One long line of energy from the outside of the right foot. Try to press into the outside of that right foot and lengthen through those right fingers. Halfmoon pose. Looking down, weight comes into your left foot. You want your lifted leg to be in the same line as your spine. You can bend your knee, reaching back for Shavasana, opening your shoulder, opening your quadricep, sugarcane pose. Any variation that you like to do here is fine. Just noticing how the pose is working on your body, not how your body is working to do the pose. The poses are the tools. All right, releasing that, stepping back into your extended side angle. Deep breath in, and then from there, on your exhale, you can come into a half a bind. Bring your right hand to the small of your back, or a full bind. Your left hand can come underneath and clasp hands. You can stay there, or stepping forward for your Bird of Paradise. I remember the first time I heard an instructor cue this pose, I thought they were crazy. Now it's just a lot of fun. Any variations, spreading your toes, standing on one foot, opening your hip, finding that Tadasana in your body, and then coming down the same way you came out, stepping back into your plank pose and vinyasa through. We're pressing back into your downward facing dog, taking some deep breaths, calming your mind, resting and relaxing. Now for another fun one, coming down to your elbows. Dolphin pose. You can stay here if you want to. You can do dolphin push-ups if you want to. Or you can lift your feet. Maybe you can come into your forearm balance. Pigeon. Steady breath. If you need to come to a wall to do this, the main thing that we're doing here is strengthening our shoulders. We're breathing, we're calming our mind, training our mind to be calm in challenging situations. Nice, calm, and steady breath is the most important thing. You can stay in your dolphin with your feet on the ground is fine, and that's going to build strength in your shoulders. And when you're ready, you can come down, pressing back into a child's pose, getting some rest for your shoulders, taking some deep breaths, noticing what's happening in your body now. We're well into this practice. We're warmed up. What's going on inside there? As you breathe in, the rib cage expands. As you breathe out, you sink your hips down towards your heels. Taking a break. Relaxing your shoulders. Deep breath to the deepest part of your lungs. If you don't want to do child's pose, you can always stop and start in downward facing dog. And now all of us, let's come up into downward facing dog and do a little bit more at the Dean Dome. Inhale, lifting your heels, look forward between your hands, bend your knees, step or hop, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Up and back into your chair pose, Utkatasana. Then inhale, rise up. Exhale your hands into prayer position at your heart center. All right, mountain pose. Inhale, lifting your arms, sinking down into a chair pose. Bring your hands into prayer position at your heart center. Now we're going to twist your left elbow over your right knee. Look down and double check, make sure your knees are parallel. You can open your arms if you'd like to. That might help you get it deeper into the twist. Inhale, lengthen through the crown of your head, and exhale, might be able to open up some space to twist a little bit more. Inhale back into center, and exhale, twisting the other way. Again, the knees should be parallel. You want to work your hands into prayer position towards the center of your chest, right at your heartbeat. You can open your arms if you'd like to. If you know side crow, you can come into side crow from here. There's all sorts of variations. Again, this is your practice. Honoring your body. Exhale, release, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen halfway. And then planting your hands underneath your feet. Walking your toes up into the wrist creases. That's going to help to protect your wrist there. Gorilla pose. You can bend your elbows to the side. You can bend your knees if you want to. Just a nice stretch for the wrists. And then releasing your hands, planting your hands, step or hop, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, up and back, downward facing dog. Here we go again. Inhale, lengthen your right leg straight back behind you, opening your hip again. Inhale, straight back. Exhale, the right foot comes forward, knee to your nose. Inhale, straight back. Exhale, the right knee to your right tricep. You can come into your arm balance if you like. Inhale, straight back. Exhale, the knee to the left tricep. Inhale, straight back. And then bring your right foot down, plant it between your hands, opening into your warrior two again. We've been here before. Taking your time, feeling the pose. Reverse warrior. Triangle pose. You might find a little bit more openness the second time around. Extended side angle, sinking down deeper into your hip. Opening your chest up to the sky. Then coming into your bind again, bring a half a bind or a full bind. This time we're going to do something a little bit different, a little bit more hip opening. Going to straighten your leg into a bound triangle. Try to keep both of your legs straight here, opening your left shoulder up to the sky. There is a balance that you can do if you want to look down and bring the weight into the right foot. I did not do that here. Okay, lifting back up. Now into your half moon. Steady breath, any variation will do. Focusing on your body. Bending your knee into Shavasana if you want to. You can lift your right hand into full moon, extending it long out in front of you if you'd like to do that. Any of these variations build strength and opening in your hip. Now bending into your right knee, lifting back up into your warrior two, very carefully. Reverse warrior, getting length in your side body. And then stepping back, Vinyasa through Chaturanga, upward facing dog, and downward facing dog. Deep breath in and out through your nose, relaxing your jaw. Inhale, lengthen your left leg straight back behind you, three-legged dog, bending your knees, stacking your left hip on top of your right, opening your hip up. Inhale, lengthen your left leg. Exhale, your shoulders over your wrist, knee to nose. Inhale, straight back. Bringing it all the way up to your left tricep. Inhale, straight back. And then some people call this the porch swing, swinging it all the way over, feeling the twist. And inhale, straight back, lengthening. And then your left foot comes down, up and open, warrior two, Virabhadrasana 2, shoulders over your hips. Arms parallel, extending through your fingertips, shoulders away from your ears, shoulder blades come together, constantly scanning your body. What's going on? All right, reverse warrior. And then straightening your leg into your triangle pose. This is the preliminary hip opener until we get the bind. Just focusing on your left hip here. We're trying to get deeper into that hip. We hold a lot of tension in our hips when we sit and we drive. That's where all the weight crashes down on. When we do these yoga poses, it's really a great way to open that stuff up. Sinking down. If your left hand's down, pressing your left knee into the back of your left shoulder there. But we're working on just getting deeper into that left hip. You can come into a half a bind if you want to. You can stay at any one of these stages, is fine. Or a full bind where you clasp and then work towards straightening your leg. So you're opening your right shoulder up, you're straightening your left leg, you're pressing your left foot down, your left thigh back. And you're just pulling your right shoulder up and open as you lengthen through the crown of your head. All right, releasing that, half moon, Ardha Chandrasana, just because it's so much fun. Hooray! Lengthening through the crown of your head. You can reach back for Chapasana, any play time that you want to do here. Anything that feels good to you. You're building a lot of strength. Deep breaths. As the pose get more challenging, the breath is more important. All right, and then releasing that, stepping back into your lunge, moving through your Vinyasa, Chaturanga, upward facing dog and downward facing dog. Steady breath. Calm your mind. All right, going back into it. Lengthen your right leg straight back behind you. The right foot comes forward. And then straightening both of your legs. Bring your hands onto your hips. Your feet are, the outside of your feet are parallel with the sides of your mat. Inhale, lengthen. And then exhale, hinging at your hips. Coming forward, wide-legged forward fold. Working your thighs back and apart. And you can stay right there if you want to. If your head comes down, if you'd like to play with headstand, your shoulders are already underneath your hips, go ahead and transfer the weight, lifting up, steady breath. I'm on a little bit of an incline here, a little bit sideways, but it's okay. Just nice, calm, steady breath. The main thing is relaxing. If you don't want to do the headstand, just stay in your wide leg forward fold, pressing your thighs back and apart, but it is something that you can work towards. Maybe practice on a wall. And then slowly coming down with your feet. Inhale, lengthen halfway, hands underneath your shoulders. Then your hands come to your hips, lengthening the rest of the way. Now goddess pose, heels in, toes out. Bring your knees directly over your ankles. Sinking down, your shoulders directly over your hips. You can keep your hands at your thighs if you want to. Lifting them up into cactus arms if you'd like. And then lifting your heels if you want a little more challenge. And then just for extra spice, jazz hands. Just because it's so much fun. Or whatever you want to do with your hands is fine. Steady breath. As long as you're breathing, you can sink down as low as you'd like to go. Every exhale maybe sinks a little bit deeper. Your hips are way open now. We're just strengthening. Releasing that. Heels come down, straightening your legs. Your hands come to frame your right foot. Coming into standing splits. Steady breath. In and out. Working your shoulders directly under your hips. Don't worry how high your back leg goes. Now a slight bend into your right knee, coming into standing, focusing on one steady spot, turning the focus on the inside so that you can balance, pressing into the big toe on the right Now we're slowly coming into standing. Slight bend in your left knee. Coming up, bringing your right knee into your chest, standing up tall, shoulders away from your ears. You can stay there at your knee, or if you want to add, you can take your two-piece fingers around your right toe, extending your foot long. Steady breath, standing up tall. You want to feel the same feeling of Tadasana in your body, straight up and down. And then your knee or your foot comes out to the side. You might want to counterbalance with the opposite arm. You can look over towards the left hand if you'd like to. Steady breath in and out. Bringing awareness, belly to spine. All right, inhale back into center. And then releasing your foot. Bringing your foot hip height if you had your knee, pointing your toe. Hands onto your hips, hold, hold, hold. Steady breath, unclench your teeth, and release your right foot down next to your left. Forward fold, stretching out your hamstrings, just relaxing. Inhale, lengthen halfway, planting your hands, step or hop, Vinyasa through. Taking some deep breaths here. All right, inhale, rolling forward into a plank pose. Working on our side plank here, your right hand comes down to the center, lifting your left hand. You can bring your right knee down, you can bring your left foot halfway forward, but you want to lift your hips. You don't want to sag into your hips here. This is good strengthening for your shoulders as well as your side bodies. Now switching sides, your left hand comes down, lifting your right hand. You want to lengthen through the crown of your head, again, feeling the Tadasana. Feeling Tadasana in your body. Just like you're standing up. You're just sideways. Steady breath. Relaxing your jaw. One of my favorite core strengtheners. Once the core is strong, everything else falls into place. And then your right hand comes down. You can Vinyasa through. Or just press back into down dog. Inhale, lifting your heels. Look forward. Bend your knees. Step or hop. Forward fold. Inhale halfway, exhale forward fold, root to rise, coming into standing, arms up over your head, bring your hands into prayer position at your heart center. Steady breath in and out. All right, now we're going to get a little more grounding, a little more calming into tree pose. The weight comes into your right foot. Any variation is fine. You can bring your right foot to your heel to your ankle. You can bring your right foot to your calf, or you can bring the foot all the way up so that you press the sole of the foot into the left thigh. Any arm variation is fine, just so you're relaxing. Inhale, lengthens the crown of the head up as though a string is pulling out of the top of your head. And as you're ready, releasing that for dancer's pose, not the Rajasana. So grabbing the foot on the inside, the right foot on the inside, you're going to kick back into your hand. That's going to open your shoulder, and as you pull into your foot, that's going to open your quad. Lengthen through your left hand, feeling the back bend. Yes, you are lifting the kneecap on your left leg and pressing your left thigh back. You're balancing on your left foot, but it's mostly a back bend. And release. Bring your knee back up into center. Now you can work on our twist here. Steady breath. You can grab the outside of your foot or grabbing your knee and your right hand comes back behind you. Steady breath. Getting challenging. And release. Bring your foot right next to the other one. Shaking everything out. Back to where we started. Tree pose. Vrikshasana. So anywhere except for on your knee. So the foot needs to either be above the knee or below the knee. Arms any variation. This is a nice calming pose designed to help you gain your balance before we go into the more exotic standing balancing. So if your foot has to touch in between the transitions, that's fine. Just be aware of it. Steady breath in and out. Now that you have your balance, releasing your foot, grabbing the inside of your left foot, lengthening your right hand long. As you kick back into your left hand, you're opening your left shoulder. As you pull into your left foot, you're stretching your quadricep. And you want your left knee to go straight back behind you. If you happen to practice in front of a mirror, make sure the knee is not swinging out to the side, and that's going to protect your knee. Feeling the back bend, lengthening through the right hand. All right, and then release. Coming back into standing, bringing the left knee into your chest. You can grab it with the right hand. The left hand comes back behind you for your twist. If you'd like to, you can reach down and grab the outside of your left foot with your right hand. And if you want to finish the pose, you can look back towards the left thumb as you breathe. Nice, calm, and steady breath. Nothing forced here. And release. Bring your feet together, taking some deep breaths. All right, now bring your feet out to mat width distance, coming into a yogic squat here. Sinking down, bringing your elbows inside your knees inside your elbows. And sitting back into Navasana, boat pose. More core work here. So you can bring your hands behind your knees, you can bring your feet down, you can bring your hands back behind you if you want to, but ideally you want your toes about eye height. You want to spread your toes wide and lengthen through the crown of your head up and out of the low back. Steady breath, relaxing your jaw, think pleasant thoughts. A smile never hurts here. Deep breaths in and out. And then bending your knees, rocking back and forth on your spine. Give your spine a massage and then lifting up into a shoulder stand. If you don't want to do a shoulder stand here, that is fine. Some teachers don't like doing shoulder stands without extra props. And if you want to put some props underneath your shoulders, if you have neck issues, I don't recommend this. If you have low back issues, this might be challenging as well. There are other things you can do. You can do legs up the wall or just hold your legs straight up in the air. But this is Sarvangasana, the queen of all asanas. It's one of my favorite inversions. Brings all the blood down into your face from your feet. And it's a nice grounding, resting pose. Deep breaths in and out. And you can stay into your Sarvangasana or move in towards your Halasana, which is plow pose. And if your toes touch, then you can release the support of your low back. Only if your toes touch. I want you to keep the support on your low back with your hands unless your toes touch. And then you can stay in Halasana, or if you want to move into Deaf Man's Pose, you can bring your knees down next to your ears. This is a nice stretch for your spine as well. If you want to clasp your hands around the back sides of your knees, you certainly can. Making sure that this is okay for your practice. Everybody's at a different place. And then slowly releasing, coming down, upper back, middle back, and lower back. Lifting up into a boat pose. Try not to use your hands. Now that we've rested, we should be able to do this for another 15 minutes. Just kidding. Steady breath. Nice fresh air. Sun shining. Bending your knees, rocking back and forth on your spine, and then lifting up into a downward facing dog any way you get there. All right. From downward facing dog, lifting your heels, look forward between your hands, bend your knees. We're moving into our crow pose. So, if you want to, you can do your crow pose. You can jump to crow from downward facing dog, or you can just bring your knees as high up on your arms as you can, squeezing your knees in, maybe lifting 1 foot, maybe 2 feet. Toes come together, steady breath, looking forward. Spreading your fingers wide. This one's a fun one. It's kind of a party trick. It's one of my favorites. It's the intro to arm balance. And as you're ready, you're finished playing, you can step back into plank pose and go through your vinyasa, or just press back into downward facing dog. And from downward facing dog, we're moving into pigeon pose, our final hip opening sequence here. We're down on the floor, no more strength building poses. So your right knee comes to the outside of your right hip, and your right foot comes to the left side of your mat. You want to keep your hips square. If you need to put a block underneath one of your feet, that's fine. The back foot comes parallel. You can stay down if you want to. If you want to work towards the quad stretch, you can. You can bend your back knee, reaching back. And I go into this advanced pose a little bit unorthodox. But if you would like to go into this advanced pose to get a stretch in your shoulders and your spine, this is a really intense stretch. It took me years to get to this pose, at least 5. And it's the only way you can really get to your spine. If you want to work there, you can certainly get there as well. But just be comfortable where you are, wherever you are. If you're in Mermaid, if you just pull the heel down to your hip, that's fine too. If you don't even mess with that back foot, that's fine. All right, switching sides, shaking out your right hip any way you want to into this transition. And we're moving to the left side. So your left knee is to the outside of your hip. And your left foot in pigeon pose, your foot is actually the gas pedal. So you can bring your foot in towards your body, and that's going to be a little bit of a less stretch. If you want more of a stretch, you bring your shin so that it's parallel with the front of your mat. Squaring off your hips, lengthening through your spine. Just take some deep breaths, relaxing. And then you can stay there, or you can lift up, reaching back for your back leg, pulling your heel into your hip. And the first things first, you bring the foot into the crook of your elbow. So this is the mermaid pose. So this is still opening up your hip. On your left side, it's opening up your quadricep. On your right, and it's also opening up your right shoulder, and it's nice back bend too. Again, it's not my body doing the pose, it's what is the pose doing in my body. That's the important thing. And then releasing that, we're gonna come into double pigeon or fire log. So make sure that your right ankle is over top of your left knee, and your right knee is over top of your left ankle. Flexing your feet is going to help to protect your knees here. If your right knee is way up in the air, that's okay too. Okay, you can press into the soles of your feet and press your feet into the hands, and that's going to help to open your hips a little bit more too. If you want to hinge forward, you certainly can. Inhale, lengthen, and exhale, hinging forward. That's going to help to open up your hips here. Steady breath, relaxing. All right, and then switching sides. Bring your left ankle over top of the right knee. The left knee comes over the right ankle. Inhale, lengthen up tall. And one side may be very different than the other. It's not a judgment of good or bad. It's just an awareness what is today. As we do this yoga practice, it's going to even out both sides, and it's going to make both sides inhale, lengthen, and hinging forward if you'd like to, but just relaxing down into your hips. Okay, releasing that. Gonna open up our hips a little bit more here with Gomukhasana or cow's face pose. So bring your left heel to your right hip, and then your right heel to your left hip, and then your sit bones are down. And then the leg that's over to the top, the opposite arm comes up, goes down the back, and then the hand on the side that the leg is up, goes out to the side, bends, and you can clasp. You can use a strap if you want to. This is a nice shoulder opener. Hinging forward if you'd like to. Otherwise, just staying there, working your tricep on the lifted arm forward. And then releasing that, shaking all that out, switching sides. You want to try to get your knees stacked directly over top of each other. Okay. One arm goes up, one arm goes out. You will notice a difference in this particular pose. It's very fascinating how one side is going to be a lot more difficult to clasp than the other side. I'm not going to tell you why this is. Hinge forward if you want, because I don't really know. I assume maybe from playing sports when I was younger, or throwing a football with the right hand or baseball with the right hand might have made that a little tighter. But over time, they have been getting more equal. So I can promise you that I'm still working on it. We'll work on it together, one breath at a time. All right, let's do some fun stuff. So, love my leg pose. We're working on our hips here, hugging your knee into your chest. And then the arm around the knee comes underneath your shin, and the arm around your foot comes over to the top. Then bring your hand down, looking under the shoulder. Now we can work towards 8-limbed pose if you'd like to. Your hands come down flat, lifting your hips up, extending your legs out to the side. And again, this is just a fun thing for people that have more advanced practices to do. Eventually you'll be able to do it as well. This is mostly core stuff. Notice there's not any strain on my face. I'm not holding my breath or grunting or straining. My hips are open now. Okay, bringing the arm underneath the leg, opening up your shoulder, opening up your hip first. Again, every movement, I'm feeling my body. I'm noticing what's happening in my hips, my joints. Okay, and this is compass pose. One of my favorite hip openers. You're just straightening your leg. Okay, and then the key to this pose is getting the leg as high up on your shoulder as possible. Hands come down, you can lift up, extending the legs out to the side. Again, smile for the camera. Hooray, nice calm mind, relaxed face, deep breaths in and out. Look how much fun we're having. All right, and release. Coming back down, lying on your back for our final back bends, our bridge pose. You can do any back bend that you want. You can do as many as you want. It's usually a mood enhancer. You can do full wheel, Dhanurasana, pressing into your feet, lifting your hips. Hands come up next to your ears. You just want to straighten your arms and press your chest through your arms. Looking back down at your mat, steady breath. You want to tuck your tailbone and your tail goes down towards your heels as your belly comes to your spine. That's going to protect your low back. You really want the bend into your middle to upper part of your spine. And after about 5 breaths, coming down, chin to chest, upper back, middle back, and lower back. Soles of your feet come together, knees fall apart, one hand on your belly, one hand on your chest. Take some deep breaths. Tabata Konasana. Time to do it again. You can do the same variation. You can do regular bridge. You can do supported bridge with a brick. If you want to lift a leg or an arm, you can go ahead and do that. If you want to bring your elbows down, you can do that. Any variation that you like. Steady breath. It's all good as long as you're breathing. Sounds funny, but so often we hold our breath when we're not paying that much attention. Coming down, chin to chest, upper back, middle back, and lower back. And then lifting up, coming into Dandasana or staff pose. Bending your right knee, the sole of the right foot comes down. Your right hand comes behind you, the left hand comes around the knee. Inhale, lengthens, and exhale, twists. And then coming back into center, Shavasana, the sole of the right foot comes into the left thigh, dropping the right knee down. Inhale, lengthen, twisting over your left leg, hinging forward, Shavasana. And then releasing that, switching legs, bending the left knee so that the sole of the left foot comes down, your left hand comes behind you. Inhale, lengthens, and exhale, twists. Wringing out all the toxins in your spine. Back into center, the sole of the foot comes into the thigh for Shavasana. Be careful with your knees here. We're continuing to scan what's going on in our body on this beautiful day in Chapel Hill. Now releasing that, Paschimottanasana. Lengthen through your spine and coming forward. Focusing on your spine, focusing on your low back. Forward folds are inward looking, they're calming, they're introspective. Winding down our practice. We did a lot today. Y'all did great. And then it's time for our Shavasana. If you'd like to take a seated meditation for a little bit, you certainly can, but this is time for you to allow your body to absorb all the work that it did. Take some deep breaths, sitting with a tall spine, shoulders away from your ears, shoulder blades down your back. And you can meditate for 10 minutes or so, 5 or 10 minutes. You can stay in your Shavasana, lying on your back. Anything that you feel like you need to do, you can do here. Now, my practice now, I usually sit in meditation for 5 or 10 minutes. Now that my body's open, that the oxygen's been going through, really feels good. It's very powerful. And I appreciate y'all spending this time with me. I look forward to doing more videos, more fun videos. I'll take any requests that you might have. But just relaxing your body after this challenging workout. And until we meet again, thank you very much. Namaste.